Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.
Sushant and I had spoken about singing Taregin out to like stadiums full of college students. Kizzy has spoilt me, I have to say, because I expected that every female character that I would read would be as wholesome and nuanced as her. And then you hear some narrations and like my heart breaks into 15 pieces.
Sanjana, so lovely to have you on Film Companion. First of all, congratulations on Dil Bechara. You were so lovely in the film.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hotstar won't give me any figures, so I called up Comax. I called up Comax, and they have something called stream tracking, some kind of tool that tracks streaming. And they said that the estimate is that between 70 to 90 million people saw the film in that first week, which is the highest ever for any film or any show in India. So, I mean, it was massive, a blockbuster if there ever was one.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So, Sanjana, what are the last sort of couple of weeks been like for you? Are you feeling now a sense of closure? Are you feeling a sense of, I can finally move on?
Not at all.
Really?
It's weird, and it's really odd actually, because it's been well over a week since the film's also released. And when I was trying to get the film to the people in the week in the run up to the release, and I was trying to be strong and put together and trying to have my thoughts streamlined, I thought that once the film releases, with the film release I will have an emotional release. But I think the opposite, I don't know, weirdly the opposite has happened, where for me to see the film was akin to reliving it, and it was akin to just Kizzy has been such a heavy part of my life that like it took me months to get out of her, literally months. So yeah, I'm in a pretty odd place right now, is the honest truth.
Well, I was told this is the last interview you're doing for the film. So hopefully
It
after
is.
this closure.
Yes, hopefully. Hopefully.
Sanjana, as I was watching the film, I really felt that you're so young. You're 23 now. You were what, 21 when you shot the movie, and you already had such a close encounter with death. I mean, you're playing a character. This is your first film as a lead. You're playing a character who's dying. Then your co-star, who you're close to, passes away. And I was just wondering, what perspective on life does that give you? How does that change the way you go through your day when you've seen it from such a close sort of quarter?
I think I'll truly have a evolved answer to that maybe 5-6 months down the line, because Dil Bechara releasing has been one of the most overwhelming experiences of my life, because when you put your heart and soul as an artist into something for 2 years and it finally reaches the people, that has in a different context, it would have had a joy and a serious sense of pride attached to it. But with me, we lost him, and then suddenly we also had the film to release, and then suddenly I realized I have to do it by myself. And there was no time to be like, okay, how will you do it by yourself? We was just like, do it, figure it out and do it. So I think what it's taught me, if anything, that I can already realize is that is everything I sort of grew up being told by my parents, which is that ultimately you have to keep your head down and keep your eyes on your purpose. And my purpose is, I know what losing him means, I know what he meant while he was with us, and I know what Dil Bechara means, and I know how special it is. So knowing all of this, however best I can deal with it, really, there's no other means to.
But you don't have enough distance now. It's too early. It's too soon.
It's simply too soon. What I did start to have distance from was the severe emotional impact that being and becoming Kizzy had on me, because we finished filming way over a year ago now, and those 6-7 months after we finished filming, I just never felt the same. I used to feel so uncomfortable and so out of my place, because I was in college before Kizzy, and then suddenly I was grown up and I was this young actor, adult person. And I was like, I don't know who to be if I'm not Kizzy after college, you know. So why isn't the AD sending me the call sheet for today? I was like, this is
Right.
messed up.
Yeah.
So and also I used to have like these weird untimely sort of breakdowns, or because Kizzy took so much from me, and when you're shooting you're just in this soldier like mentality where you're giving day after day, and then it just comes and bursts in your face. So I had to really make myself understand that phase. So I made a lot of sense of that experience, and I think that learning is helping me today. Because with Kizzy, I understood death, and I had to understand life and love in a very, very overly deep way that as a 21-year-old, I know I just would never have bothered
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, like you said, like playing Kizzy took a lot out of you. I read that you spent months getting diction training to get the Bengali accent right. You went to cancer wards to understand the psychological effect of, what it does to have it. Do you feel, Sanjana, that all of that translated to the audience in your performance? Do you feel like from the responses you may have got till now that people notice that, or did that get drowned out in the surround sound on this film?
Honestly, it didn't. I mean, it didn't get spelt out in the way that, oh, we love her Bengali, or oh, we love um that we couldn't notice Pushpinder and the oxygen tube. But I think for people who aren't actors or who aren't directors and who aren't in our world of making films, there are a couple of words that people use when they really like a character. And my theater teacher at NSD had to teach me this, because I called him up saying, "Sir, मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा है, सब effortless बोल रहे हैं और सब बोल रहे हैं कि natural है." And I was like, "इतना effort डाला है, so ये effortless का क्या मतलब होता है?" So he was just like, he literally, this is Pandit Ji N.K. Sharma, and he was like, it's the biggest compliment for an actor when the general audience calls you effortless. That
Yeah, we
means
don't
that
see you working.
yeah, and he's like, your effort is in looking effortless, and just like stop being this geeky self and dissecting words and just take a compliment when you get it. So so I'm stunned that amidst all the noise, people still have made Kizzy their own. It surprised me, to be honest. I mean, the kind of fan mails or every dialogue become, I don't remember when this last happened, where like there's fan art and there's people re-performing your scenes, and it feels like a movement of sorts.
Yeah.
And it's special. It's really special.
Tell me, Sanjana, this film had a very bumpy journey, even before Sushant passed away. There was the shoot stall, there was allegations of sexual harassment. At that time, you're so young, and this is your world, right? You're investing so much into this, and you don't know how this is all going to pan out. At that time, how did you keep the faith? How did you just tell yourself that, no, it's all going to work out and I just have to keep going?
That time was tough. I like how I am today, and that's when you realize personal growth. I think that in these 2 years, I've had 6-7 years worth of mental and even just practical growth. Because when I think back to those moments, I used to feel so discouraged, Anu ma'am, because you're filming then, right? You're coming back after 17-hour long days, after given something, your honest sweat and blood, and you're like, how is this the correct karmic cycle? Like, how does this make any kind of sense? And I studied in Lady Shri Ram in Delhi University, and I studied journalism, and I'm a gold medalist from Delhi University in journalism. So I am very, very sensitive about the nature of journalism in our country. And so I get hurt at multiple levels. So for me, my entire life and how any values that I have were getting shattered one after the other. And at that point, I had no means of sort of evaluating it or even helping myself. I was like, okay, they'll stop, it'll stop. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. And luckily we did that, because that's how we continue to make a special film,
But did you ever in that time lose hope? Did you ever have this sort of dark night of the soul?
Lose hope in terms of what the future of this film would be?
Yeah.
Somehow not, weirdly. I've had too much faith in Dil Bechara since in my head it was that even if it takes 5 years, I'm okay with it. It was one of those things. I don't know, we'll call prosthetics if I start looking too old to play Kizzy. I had reached that place. So
What were the plans you were making?
I was like, Vikram Gaikwad, who's a makeup designer, I was like, sir, आप master हो वैसे भी तो आप कर देना. So yeah, I think but that was just the exuberance of like optimistic youth. There's no reality or practicality in this.
I love it. At 23, you're looking down and saying,
I know. So sad. My friends have given up on me. They're like, please, we will introduce you to a bunch of 40-year-olds and you can find your new circle of friends.
You said that you're a gold medalist from DU. And in one interview I saw, Sanjana, you talked about how you found that out. I think it was while you were shooting, or it was...
I was reading with Sushant. Yeah.
You were reading with Sushant. And he wrote you a note about this collision of cinema and education and what it means. And I really wondered, what did he say in that note?
So basically the thing was that he found it incredibly fascinating that there's someone kind of similar to him who's geeky about the craft. That's how we used to call it. Like, we used to apply our discipline of academia, which is of when you do something every day for many hours and you do it in a structured way. That's how he and I both approach the craft as well. It's not something ke aaj kar liya, kal nahi kiya type of thing. So he said that for the first time I don't have to convince someone that academia and cinema do have a meeting ground, because you're right at the center of that meeting ground. And yeah, that's what he had written.
That's lovely. You also said in an interview that through the lockdown you sort of learned to center yourself. In what way?
I mean, these are also things that I try and tell myself that maybe that's something that I've learned how to do. But it was just the fact that when you're from a different city and a different world, I mean, my influences, I've grown up in Delhi. My school is placed in a way that the National School of Drama and Sri Ram Center for Arts were in one circle in Connaught Place. So those were my days, there's theater and dance in school, and then there's watching a play with your grandfather, and then there's some kind of political conversation at a club in central Delhi. And when you grow up around these influences and then move anywhere, it does throw you off, because I didn't realize that I'm used to getting this nectar every day. So also after living in Bombay for a year and a half or so by myself, I realized that maybe for me, I'll have to also be mobile between both the cities, because I care about humanitarian work too much, and I care about feeling fulfilled from inside a lot. And I've told Dil Bechara being mobile. So I think the lockdown taught me and taught the world that this obsession that we have with being geographically placed in one spot is now just challenged and out in the open. So it's centering in the form of self-discovery, I think, essentially.
So what but it's such an uncertain time for everyone.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, you've just begun. You had one film release as a lead, and sort of the film industry is in a complete upheaval. It's a state of crisis, right? Do you have anxiety about what happens now? I'm a young actor. I want, you probably have amazing ambitions about the kind of things you want to do, where you want to go. How do you see the next 2 years of your life, given that nobody can see anything anymore?
Exactly. Yeah, so for me, I think when I realized at 13 that on Rockstar set that there's a special bond with the camera, and then when I continued to just be on sets and do plays growing up, and when I realized that all of it added up to being able to deliver as Kizzy, and then when Kizzy gets accepted, there's just there's so much that one learns, that now it's about whenever we get to tell stories next, because luckily there's no dearth of stories that even that I know I can tell. When we stopped filming, the thing about good word is that it goes around, and then people heard that Sanjana has done well. And over the last year, I've heard so many scripts. What upsets me is that we can't make them right now. That is scary, but that's just the pandemic, and it's sort of applying universally to all of us.
Yeah.
So with this, it's a wait and watch kind of thing with the pandemic. But from an artistic and career point of view, like, I'm not the 5-year plan type of person. So like 2 years ago, I couldn't have ever thought that I'd be here. So I find it best to not think about where I'll be 2 years later.
Have you said yes to anything?
Yeah, I had. And
you can tell us?
No, because I've been taught that you're not supposed to tell till we tell. So because I speak, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, so I end up being like, oh, I'm so excited about doing that film, and they're like, you were not supposed to say that.
Right.
So but that worries me, because I don't know if we can shoot those things anymore, those scripts and those stories, whether we can travel in that way. I wonder if the narratives we tell will change, after the pandemic. Truly, whether the audience. But Dil Bechara has told me that love and parenthood and friendship are just their themes that transcend, context and time. So I feel like we'll just have to sort of adapt, maybe.
So you said stories. So you signed more than one film?
No.
I'm trying to be an investigative reporter here.
You're being very subtle, I must say. This is great. No, aisa to nahi hai, because I don't have a bachar of films, sadly. But I'm also, honestly, I'm like, Kizzy has spoilt me, I have to say, because I expected that every female character that I would read would be as wholesome and nuanced as her. And then you hear some narrations, and like my heart breaks into 15 pieces, because I'm like, so she came, and then where did the girl go? Like, what happened to her? So again, something because you take it for granted, and because I don't have any, she didn't have any frills on. There was nothing to protect her in terms of fancy hair or makeup or clothes.
No props.
So no props whatsoever. Exactly.
Yeah.
And no action sequences, and just nothing to make her larger than life. And that's so liberating, because I've done that in my first. So now I feel much more at ease. There's no grand fear really about picking characters. It just has to be more challenging than Kizzy. That's my main parameter.
Tell me, are you at all a little anxious about not being in the public eye? Given that for the next year, foreseeably, there will be no events, magazine covers, the usual stuff that comes with being a Hindi film actor. Is that somewhere disappointing that I've just made this massive debut and I don't have all of that?
I mean, I think that's one of the 100 other things that were to happen normally, which haven't happened, right? So then, I mean, Sushant and I had spoken about singing Taregin out to like stadiums full of college students. So, and the film was supposed to release theatrically. So when you've dealt with those things not happening,
this
is just one other blow in the sense. But I think we've developed an adaptive form in the form of, I don't know, virtually however to do it. But it's not nearly as exciting, of course.
Yeah. Tell me, Sanjana, are you afraid of negotiating the sort of Hindi film industry, or have the last 2 years sort of toughened you up completely now and you can handle anything that comes your way?
I don't think I can handle everything that comes my way. Also, I hope that I don't ever have to handle this degree of just all sorts of stress and emotional, but just the main thing that's happened is that I've gotten reminded that the craft is everything, and the films you make are ultimately everything. I never chose to become an actor because I was smitten by by any of the periphery, because oddly, I don't know how, it just never excited me. Like, even when I was a kid and I acted with Ranbir, I was so fond of him because as Mandy, I was really fond of Jordan. And then once I started spending time with him, I was like, he's such an awesome person also. But it was never like Ranbir Kapoor and like, I'm just not that person.
You were never starstruck.
No. And so my relationship with fame, that's why is awkward. Like, I dream about impact a lot more than I dream about fame and stardom. And impact through the art that we make, and then positively try and influence the youth and empower them through my journeys, because it's just, I've been through everything that they're going through, each one of them, through school and college, and giving auditions and not getting them. And it's just, you give 500 auditions and you will get like 2, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And that can either be a struggle, or it can be, you can work really hard on trying to make it a process you learn from, because auditioning is a frighteningly frustrating process otherwise.
Yeah.
So over these years, I mean, I've given so many that Dil Becharas, when Mukesh first handed me the entire script, I felt like fish out of water completely, because I'm not used to being given an entire script in my hand. And when you're given that kind of respect, where read the story from start to finish and tell me what you think, you're like, you want to know what I think? That's so incredible.
So, but Sanjana, are you looking to do? You said, of course, that the role has to be more challenging than Kizzy, but are you looking to do a specific kind of movie? Are you looking to do only leads, or are you, as an actor who, like you said, is more interested in craft, open to anything good that comes, irrespective of sort of the length of the role or anything else?
So length of the role is definitely not a parameter, but a complete loop definitely is. I mean, I don't see myself being able to do any part where my character, even if I come and go for 5 minutes, that's totally okay. But she needs to start and finish, and that's something I've learned from making organic choices. Even when I was a child, and like Mandy and Hindi medium and stuff taught me that. It also matters, Anupam, like, what are you here for, right? Like, what are you here for? So I want closed loops for sure. And specific, I know I'm itching to do is a comedy, because I really feel like doing a hardcore like comedy, because I feel like we aren't making enough also.
After Dil Bechara, I hope that really happens. You need to laugh.
I know. Yes. Yes.
Find a
and
joyous,
make people laugh.
yes,
instead
find
of make
joyous
them cry.
character, and yes, it was definitely, just find something that feels light and sort of less weighed down, right?
Absolutely.
Are you reading a lot of scripts right now? How are you keeping in touch with the actor in you?
It's not been hard at all through lockdown, honestly. There's we of course adapted to the Zoom version of narrations and readings and prep and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, when you're from a background of theater, you're so used to your own riyas and stuff that it's just a matter of habit. Like, it's like your day is incomplete without doing that. And because I'm a student of journalism, I love writing too. So in lockdown, I found myself writing a lot, and then I would just partner with any platform to be like, hey, I wrote this, I sort of want to perform it. And then I would call a musician friend and we would create something together. So it's been artistically pretty okay, oddly. This is all prior to 14th June though, all of this. Yeah. But it was, yeah.
I hope that keeps going, and I hope we can see you back on screen soon enough.
Yes, I hope so. And the big screen, maybe.
Yeah. That I do miss. I really miss the theatrical experience there.
Yeah.
But Sanjana, 90 million people.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Also, it's shown me that the nature of engagement is so uniquely different on OTT, and it's so deep, because I think, Anupam, like most people that have sort of poured their love to me, I've realized that these are not people who watched the film just once. These
Right.
are people who watched it 3 or 4 times. Also, because our film was really short, it was very tight. It was just
Yeah.
an hour and 40. So when they when they can sort of quote the eyebrow that Sushant raised and the way my eyes flickered, you know that they watched it multiple times. And that experience, if that's a gift that OTT is giving us, I think that's special also.
Absolute. Absolute.
Yeah.
Sanjana, thank you. And I really genuinely hope that this last interview on Dil Bechara provides some closure.
I hope so. I think it has. I
Good.
think it has.
Good. Good luck. Good luck. And
Thanks,
thank
Anupam.
you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sanjana Sanghi, and if you like this video, please subscribe to Film Companion.